We will have 4 exams and none of them are cumulative. I specify what chapters will be covered for each of them. Exam questions come directly from the textbook's bank of questions, and I use what's called pools, which are essentially lots of questions that could possibly come from each chapter. There are about 100 questions for each of our chapters. These pools work by pulling a different question each time, which means that the chances of you and your classmate receiving exactly the same questions, or for this semester's class to receive the same questions as last semester's class, is limited. Sometimes you might even get more than one question about the same concept. Because these pools contain so many possible questions, I don't provide y'all with exam study guides, which would be extremely long. Well, actually, I have provided you with a sort of study guide, but it's in the form of all of my PowerPoints that I've given you. If I don't cover it in our class, it will not appear on the exam. We don't have time to cover every single thing in our textbook. But even if I just barely mention it in class, that question might appear on your exam. So if you see it on the PowerPoint, that's up for grabs. There is one exception to what I just said. If you were in a class in which I assign reading quizzes, the material you'll find on those quizzes is not covered in my in-class lectures or in my PowerPoint slides, but might still appear as exam questions. Those of you who actually attend my classes, or who take advantage of any extra materials I provide you if you're taking this class online only, will benefit the most, because you won't ever see complete information written on my PowerPoints, but in my lectures and in my extra information that I give online students, I'll speak and convey the words that you'll need to know for the exams. Remember that PowerPoints are only outlines and don't provide you with the full information. So if you miss a class, be sure to get your textbook out so that you can figure out the complete information that I covered in the lecture, and always ask me if you're a little unsure of anything. Okay, I strongly recommend that you take all of your exams using a real computer. By that I mean that it's actually plugged into a wall and not using a wireless connection, and particularly that you don't try to use your smartphone for exams. So many students have tried and failed to complete exams using their phones. I know that not everybody has a computer, but consider using one of AC's computer labs to take all of your exams if you don't have your own computer. Or visit a public library near you. When you click on the exams menu item in our class, you won't see anything in here unless a particular exam has opened. And then after an exam's due date has passed, it'll disappear. I have it set so that you won't be able to access your full exam right after you took it, but you'll have to wait until after the due date has passed. Then you'll be able to go to My Grades to access your exam, just by clicking on it to see how you did. As you see by this exam's instructions, you have to take the whole thing all at once, and you'll have an hour and a half to get it done. There are only 50 questions, so even slower readers are able to get through this. The people who struggle are those who haven't studied the material at all. You won't have time to read 3 or 4 chapters in an hour and a half. But if you've been studying, you'll be fine. I also have a setting in place that if you're running right up to midnight, if you do run out of time, it'll auto-submit what you've already gotten done so far right at 11:59 p.m. That's better than getting a 0 if you let time run out and pass you by. To start the exam, just click on the link and then select Begin. Here's what the top of your screen will look like, although you might have to click these small arrows to expand and open up everything that you see here already opened on my screen. If you're the kind of person who gets nervous by a ticking clock, do not click this little arrow here and then you will not see your time. This question completion status isn't quite as helpful to students in my classes because I have my exams set to present all of the questions all at once on a single page. I do this because of a Blackboard glitch. In the past, I've had a lot of trouble with Blackboard kicking students out before they were finished with an exam if it was set to show only one question at a time. The technical experts tell me that doing it this way, with all questions presented all at once, works much better with fewer people getting timed out. Okay, and then on the screen down below, you'll actually see all of the exam questions listed. To the right of each question, you'll see how many points you'll receive on this individual question, and you'll see Save Answer. You do not need to worry about this Save Answer button. Once you make a selection, it'll automatically change to Saved. When you've clicked your answer for each question and get down to the bottom of the screen, you'll see these 2 buttons, Save All Answers and Save and Submit. Please ignore the Save All Answers button. You don't need this. You can't keep retaking my exams, and your answers have already been automatically saved. If you click this one, you won't receive a grade. So you must click Save and Submit, and then your exam has been submitted and you're good to go. You should be able to see your grade right away. However, remember how I told you that I've set it so that exams will automatically get submitted if you're approaching 11:59 p.m.? Well, if it does auto-submit right at midnight, sometimes the exam won't go through to be graded until I've done something. In that case, you may see one of those yellow exclamation marks in your My Grades area indicating that I need to grade it. And remember that you can't access your full exam to see all of the questions you might have missed until after the due date has passed. So if you're taking this early, good for you, but you might have to wait a little while to access your complete exam. And remember, to do that, just go to My Grades, click on the exam, and you'll see the whole thing. Okay, I think that's it for exams, but please ask me if you have any additional questions.